सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम। Last time we saw, we discussed about Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga is not a yoga of action, but it's an attitude in action. Attitude while performing a given action. That makes it yoga. Action remaining what it is, when that action is coupled with proper attitude, it becomes Karma Yoga. Now, it's very difficult, almost you can say impossible, to see Ishvara while performing action or while accepting the result as a gift from Ishvara. How do I live in the awareness of Ishvara? Human being is gifted with intellect. We are basically cognitive beings. At least should be also. Some of us are quite instinctual, but we are cognitive beings. And that being the case, we need to live intelligently because we have buddhi. The life should be led intelligently. And when I say intelligently means what? With the gift of buddhi, we always have choices. Every time we have to choose. It starts from morning only. We have to choose to wake up. And if you wake up, you have to choose to get up from the bed. Then you have to choose to do certain things. It starts from there all the way. Choices are. We have to exercise the choice. And what is a proper choice? What is a correct choice? To know that, we need to have certain norms. How can I choose properly? And the answer is, one needs to be matured. If you are a mature person, then your choices are proper according to the metrics of what is proper and improper, and then you live intelligently. Now the question comes, What are the proper choice? How can I make it? How do I know whether I am matured or not? What is maturity? The answer is maturity means objectivity. To the extent I can be objective, to that extent I am a mature person. And that person is a mature person. That person is living intelligently, or you can say that person is a grown-up person. Just because you have beard and mustaches, just because you have voting rights, you are not, one doesn't become a grown-up person. External growth is measured in terms of possessions, in terms of wealth, in terms of power, in terms of position, connection, so many things. I would say internal growth. That internal growth gives you happiness. External growth gives you comfortable life, but doesn't guarantee happiness. Internal growth, maturity, or as I said, objectivity assures relative happiness. And that internal growth is a stepping stone for spiritual growth. Inner growth is a stepping stone for spiritual growth. You can say innermost growth or the ultimate growth. And that growth is discovering myself as happiness, discovering myself as complete, Purna. That is spiritual growth. In one word, as I say, to be objective is internal growth, is living intelligently, is inner growth or maturity. Objective to what? First, objective to myself, objective to my ambitions, objective to my possessions, objective to the world outside, objective to the people, relationship, and ultimately objective towards Ishvara also. Like simple, I should be objective towards money, objective towards my family, relations, my possessions. Any degree of subjectivity is lack of emotional growth, and that hampers, stifles sometimes my pursuit of happiness. As I said, to be objective about my ambitions, my pursuits, I have to be objective to Ishvara also. Means understand Ishvara as he is. It is like, suppose I say a word, mobile or cell phone. All of us have some common understanding. What is mobile? There may be some variations here and there, but there is some common thing. When I say car, there is common understanding. That means there is objectivity in understanding the word car. Or when I say a temple, there is some objectivity. All of us have some common ground, some common concepts. All of us mean something same. When I say mobile, all of us mean same. The object which connects you with other people, to talk, to see their face, video talk, etc. But when I say Ishvara, all of us don't mean the same. That is one word for whose meaning is subjective to each one of us. And one only common thing that we have, most of them have, that Ishvara is somewhere else, in a place so-called heaven, and he, that is he. Of course, in India you may find him that to be she also. He or she having a place, having a form. And Swamiji would say, with modern Pujya Swamiji would say, with email address also, narayana@vaikund.org or Shiva at kailas.net. He is having his email identity, a location. And some of them have audacity to say that he is formless and still he is in heaven. How can formless Vastu, he can be in heaven? That is the wrong thinking, Now, if Ishvara is one of us, or one in this world, an object in the world, then out of sight is out of mind. To be objective about Ishvara means, I would put it this way, to live in the awareness of Ishvara. So that is, if he cannot be one of the object in this world, he can be subject also. But that possibility seems to be very remote, or almost not so true, or looks like that I am limited and he being limitless. And the third possibility is, he is both the subject as well as the object. He is inside, outside. When he is both, that means he transcends both, which is true. We need to understand. We have to understand who is Ishvara and how do I, or how can I connect or live in the awareness of Ishvara. One thing common, which all religion and all so-called devotees have. There are atheists also, there are agnostics also, but all of them have something common, that he is omnipotent and omniscient, all-knowing and all-powerful. That Ishvara is there. He can do anything. He is a master. That's okay. Let him, that is acceptable. But what is its Swarupa? That we need to understand. Is he only the omniscient, omnipotent, who can do anything and everything that he wants? He can change and unchange the things whenever he feels like doing. And he may listen and he may not listen. That kind of thing. Or he is something more than that. Before, we need to know one more thing, how to relate to him. When I say we have to live in the awareness of Ishvara. Karma Yoga means performing the actions in the awareness of Ishvara. Karma means accepting the phalam in the awareness of Ishvara. Therefore, how to be in his awareness? When I transact in the world, I easily forget how to live in the awareness of Ishvara. And for that, in every religion they have something called prayers. It has two things. One, it helps me to live in the awareness of Ishvara. And second, it helps myself. Which way? Here I find myself is a desiring individual. You don't decide to desire. You may decide to give up desire. But you don't decide to desire. Now tomorrow onwards I will desire for a car. Doesn't happen. Or today, now onwards I will desire for that. No. But you do desire that I want to give up that desire. But you find yourself a desiring person, desiring individual. That's a privilege. Animals don't have that. Birds don't have that. Other than human being in this world doesn't have that capacity to desire. And these very desires push me to karma, to pursue something or to give up something. And sometimes I cannot pursue or cannot achieve, or sometimes I cannot give up. At that time, I have a pain. It is a give up the desires. You cannot give up the desire. That I want to give up desire itself is a desire, a new desire. And as I said, you don't desire to desire, you don't will a will. It just happens. You are helpless. You pick up a desire. You pick up a desire, and some desires are very strong. You have an ambition. Swamiji would say, if you have an ambition, you are a healthy person. Mentally healthy person. There is nothing wrong in having ambition. Nothing wrong in having desire. What to do? We have a desire and we do some homework to fulfill a desire. In terms of planning, in terms of estimation, what should be done to fulfill desire, and then we do what is to be done. But often I find there are so many unknown variables. There are so many factors which I don't know, and even if I know, they are beyond my control. I just cannot manage them. There are some factors. That means there are unknown variables which I have to deal with them, and they hamper as though my pursuit for given object or a situation. As they say, I don't call all the shots. Life is by and large playing a game of average. It's just gambling. You think you can, and you're doing, but it is just a postulation, projection. And often I find myself helpless for want of resources to fulfill desire. And even if I have the so-called resources, I find myself wanting something which makes difference between success and failure, between what I want and what I couldn't get it. That difference, something is there. I find helpless. At that time, when I find helpless with reference to what to do, how to solve a problem, etc., help yourself. And self-help is prayer. When you pray, it is self-help. Because to feel helpless itself is most painful thing. I would say to feel all the time helplessness, it's a crime. You end up looking low upon yourself or start blaming the destiny or start blaming the other person, the situation or your luck, or if Astika, then Navagrahas. My Saturn is giving me trouble. Moon is not properly placed, etc. In other words, blame game starts. You blame God, luck, or other people. And in spite of blame game, you feel helpless. Helplessness may lead to anger, frustrations, dejections, despair, etc. That then you help yourself. I become a person who is in need of help. As I said, you cannot afford to feel helpless all the time. It will paralyze you. It will paralyze your thinking, paralyze your objectivity, paralyze your perception about life. It will paralyze you with reference to your ambitions, with reference to your possessions, with reference to relations, with reference to the whole entire world of sex. We need to address the helplessness. I help myself with prayer. I help myself not to be paralyzed, but to pray. And when I say it is, I help myself to pray, but that's not an end in itself. It is not enough that I pray, but I have to become prayerful. I have to become, I have a prayerful attitude in my life. And that prayerfulness comes when I live in the awareness of Ishvara. To live in the awareness of Ishvara 24/7. That means whatever you do, you are doing as a karma yoga. Karma yogi is doing. That's a karma yogi. But for that, you have to become a prayerful person deliberately. I have to be effortlessly prayerful, living in the awareness of Ishvara. To be such one, I have to be deliberate, prayerful person. This is program of conversion. In other words, I have to be a devotee first and last. When I pray, I become a devotee for some time. But I should have a devotional attitude. That's a life. To have that, I deliberately try to become devotional. And later on, I effortlessly become devotional. It is a program of self-conversion. I would say self-proselytizing. You convert yourself. I am a devotee first. Then I play the roles. As of now, I play one role as a devotee among many roles. And in fact, when they pray, the devotee is also not there. The only devotee is not there. That the role player puts on some garbs of being a devotee. Like, here is a person who goes to temple and prays. Oh Lord, help me. Why? I am not getting well with my spouse. Oh Lord, help me. Why? What for? My children are not doing well. Oh Lord, help me. What? I'm not doing good in my business. Oh Bhagavan, help me. I have to travel to Southeast Asia. Save me from Corona. This is modern. Who is this fellow? Husband is praying. Or wife is praying. When they say, help me, father is praying. Businessman is praying. So the businessman becomes a devotee temporarily. Father becomes a devotee temporarily. Husband or wife becomes a devotee temporarily. Temporary. The moment I am out of it, out of sight is out of mind. So who prays? Husband or wife prays, father prays, businessman prays. Different roles pray. There is a basic individual who is connected to Ishvara all the way. And that basic person is a devotee. When I am connected to Ishvara, I am a devotee. So, devotee should play the role of a father, not the father playing a role of a devotee. The father momentarily plays the role of a devotee. Husband plays the role of a devotee. Businessman plays the role of a devotee. But the devotee should be there to play the role of father or husband or businessman or citizen or whatever it is. The transformation, that conversion has to take place. And the process of conversion is called bhakti. Bhakti yoga. If it converts you to be what you are, basically, intrinsically. I am a devotee, first and last. Then play a role of a father, or husband, or a businessman, or whatever it calls for. Not that husband becomes a devotee, father becomes a devotee, son becomes a devotee. So many become a devotee. There is no one devotee. When the fellow prays, oh Lord, help me with my partner. That means husband or wife will become devotee. By the time that prayer is over, he comes to his mind, oh, my daughter. That is the father becomes a devotee. By the time he comes to daughter and knows, oh, she is going to university and I have to pay so much of fees, and I told her to take admission in the same state and she refuses to take admission in that state, and I don't get the benefit of being the resident of this state and I have to pay more fees and she doesn't listen to me. Oh Lord, help me to change her. So father is praying. I don't have money because the business is slow, and with coronavirus there is a slowdown. There is a glow so loud. Oh Lord, please see that my business is. There is a businessman praying for all kinds of things. Different person. It should be otherwise. Devotee become husband or father or mother or businessman. It is like Pujya Swamiji used to tell one story. I'm sure it was his creation. It never happened. There was one rich person, and his son, and he had a permanent resident servant person taking care of daily chore. And in India, they develop a very family relationship. Though a servant, but he's treated like a family member, and that servant's son and this businessman's son were almost same age, and they played together. And when this boy grew up, the servant's son also grew up, and he did not study, and so they employed him in his father's place and made him a driver and a family member. And this fellow took over his father's business and things like that. This person happened to be music lover. He liked music. Immature, but liked it and wanted to learn and play. And he was playing a bit and invite the musicians and singers and all kinds of artists, and at home some things going on. That servant's son who was made a driver, and he knew how. Can you hear me?
The connection is poor, Swamiji. We are losing you out a little bit, in between.
I just disconnect and join with going on in the home. Artists would come and play. This fellow was taking lessons in singing, and this fellow was overhearing, and he picked up some music. And he fell in, the cook, the driver come cook, fell in love with the music. He started singing from the kitchen. It so happened one day some guest had come and who was a master in music. Then this fellow owner were talking. They overheard that person singing. The great musician said that this fellow, your servant, has a very rich voice. He can become a great artist. And he loved him because they had played together in childhood and he was a very philanthropic person. So he put that, first when that fellow asked him, the musician, who is singing? This fellow said, my cook is singing. Oh, he said, he has a very good voice. Why don't you send him to some music school or send him to me? I can train him and he can sing very well. And then send your cook to me. And he adjusted timing, paid the fees and sent it. Course of time, that cook picked up the music very well. So this main artist took him to functions as a supporting singer. And he became so popular that after some time he started giving his own shows. He was still till then working with that person, cooking for him, driving for him whenever he was there. And whenever there is no show, he would do that. This person being philanthropic said, okay, now you go ahead, focus your career on music, and shows don't come and do any seva work here. He said, okay, became a big man. As it happened, after some time, he was free and he said, Master, can I come to your home? He always felt indebted because of this person I brought up today. He says, come. So he came to stay with him, now not as a servant, but as a great musician. And out of sheer love for his master, he said, today I will cook for you. I know what you like. The dishes I used to cook, you used to relish it, so let me cook for you. But while cooking, being a acclaimed musician, he started singing. And when this fellow was singing, somebody else came. He says, who is singing? He's a very good. He says he is singing. Well, who is this singing? And this are you hearing me?
No, Swamiji, it is still patchy. The connection is poor.
Dicey.
Yeah, we keep losing you in between. You keep losing your voice.
Yeah, but
It has been easy, but we have been losing your voice also for the last few minutes.
this fellow was singing, somebody came in the home and asked the owner, who is this singer? Voice looks familiar. Then the owner said, you know, such and such a musician is cooking for me. The change. Formerly he said, my cook is singing. Now musician is cooking. Beginning, a father is praying, husband or wife is praying, businessman is praying. I mean, he is becoming a devotee. Then the conversion should be the devotee is becoming father. The devotee is playing a role of a husband or a wife. The devotee is playing the role of a business. And primarily, I am a devotee. I relate to him all the time. So I live prayerfully. That's a prayerful living. When I am a devotee first, well, I relate to the world outside, And there are, one needs to be deliberately a devotee for some time. Then you become spontaneous devotee for some time. First and the last, and then father or husband or whatever. The singer is cooking, and formerly the cook was singing. Like that, I pray as of now. There is a person who is husband or wife, son or daughter, or father or mother is praying. Later on, prayerful living is, I am a devotee who plays the role of a father husband. Can you hear me?
Yes, Swamiji.
Okay. That prayerful living To be a devotee deliberately, there are some karmas, some actions, which are popularly called as bhakti. Devotion. Bhakti means devotion. Action itself is not a devotion, but those karmas can induce you, or those karmas are natural expression of a devotee. So, in a secondary sense, these karmas are called bhakti. Okay? I think I will stop here now. I see the fluctuation in connection, and though there is a devotee out of me, I become a bare devotee relating to Ishvara. They are called bhakti, or popularly called bhakti yoga. And when I deliberately become a devotee for some time, I become devotee for more time and more in different situations and different places. It is like pilot plant or a laboratory experiment. Then you can go into actual production. And those karmas are called bhakti. And these karmas are performed at 3 levels. One, physically, at physical levels, when limbs are involved. Another is vachika, verbal level, when your speech or volume is involved. And third one is manasa, where purely mind is involved. That is all that is being discussed in a next verse onwards. So second and third verse talks of karma, yoga in karma. This section, 4th to 8th, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi talks of, 4th to 9th, 10th of Bhakti Yoga, popularly called Bhakti, which we will see next weekend. I have some time, but so should you have questions, it would be good. I can entertain 1 or 2 questions, then close. Otherwise, I will close now.